The first rays of dawn crept across the United Nations headquarters in New York, casting long shadows through the glass-paneled conference room, where humanity's fate would be decided. Dr. Maya Chen sat at the edge of the delegation, her fingers tracing absent patterns on her tablet, eyes fixed on the massive holographic display that showed the Zorn-collected ship hanging in Earth's orbit. She wasn't like most of the diplomatic corps, where they saw protocol and potential political ramifications. Maya saw possibility. Her background as a systems engineer and adaptive technology specialist made her uniquely positioned to understand what was about to unfold. The Zorn representatives entered the room, their bodies a complex arrangement of crystalline exoskeletons and biomechanical augmentations. They moved with an almost liquid grace, each step calculated and precise. Ambassador Krelix, the lead diplomat, stood nearly 3 meters tall, his multiple eyes scanning the human delegation with a mixture of curiosity and barely concealed condescension. "People of Earth," Krelix began, his translator rendering his complex linguistic patterns into crisp English, "we come with an offering of goodwill. As an advanced civilization, we recognize your potential and wish to support your technological development." A murmur ran through the human delegation. Diplomatic gifts were rarely simple, and everyone knew the Zorn were not known for their charitable nature. With a gesture, Krelix activated a secondary hologram. Containers materialized, strange, asymmetrical modules that looked like a cross between industrial machinery and abstract art. They were clearly technological, but in a way that defied immediate comprehension. Some appeared damaged, others simply outdated, their surfaces marked with alien inscriptions and structural modifications that seemed random to human eyes. "These are components from our technological archives," Krelix continued. "Outdated systems that no longer serve the needs of our civilization. We offer them to humanity as a gesture of interstellar cooperation." Maya's breath caught in her throat. Where others saw junk, she saw a treasure trove of potential. Each component looked like a puzzle piece waiting to be understood, a technological mystery that begged to be solved. United Nations Secretary General Aria Rodriguez leaned forward, her diplomatic smile carefully measured. "We appreciate the Zorn Collective's generosity," she said, the words diplomatic, but her tone slightly uncertain. Krelix's multiple eyes seemed to shimmer with what might have been amusement. "Consider this a foundation for your continued technological growth. These components represent centuries of advanced engineering, even if they are no longer suitable for our most sophisticated applications." The underlying message was clear. These were cast-off technologies, deemed worthless by the Zorn. A patronizing gift meant to demonstrate the vast technological gap between their civilization and humanity. Most of the human delegation looked confused or slightly offended. Military advisors saw potential weapons research. Economists calculated potential reverse engineering values. Politicians considered the diplomatic implications. But Maya Chen saw something entirely different. As the official ceremonies continued, she was already mentally cataloging the components. The strange energy conduits, the quantum interfaced circuit boards, the material composites that seemed to defy known physical properties. Each piece was a potential breakthrough waiting to happen. Her colleague, Dr. Robert Kim, leaned over and whispered, "What do you see?" Maya's eyes never left the holographic display. "Everything," she murmured. The meeting concluded with formal exchanges and diplomatic pleasantries. Protocols were observed, hands, and equivalent appendages were metaphorically shaken. The Zorn delegation seemed almost performative in their benevolence, as if the entire exchange was more about demonstrating their superiority than genuine collaboration. As the alien representatives prepared to depart, Krelix made one final statement. "We trust you will find these components instructive. Perhaps they will help accelerate your civilization's technological understanding." The subtle condescension was impossible to miss. They viewed humanity as children being given educational toys. Interesting, but ultimately inconsequential. What the Zorn did not know, what they could not possibly understand, was the fundamental nature of human innovation. creativity, adaptability, the ability to see potential where others saw limitations. Maya watched the alien ship begin its departure sequence, her mind already racing with possibilities. Those junk components represented more than just outdated technology. They were the first step toward something extraordinary. A technological revolution was about to begin. The Horizon Research Complex looked ordinary from the outside. A series of low-rise buildings nestled in the mountains of Colorado. Nothing about its exterior suggested that inside, humanity's most audacious technological experiment was about to begin. Maya Chen stood in the central laboratory, surrounded by the alien components. Each piece was mounted on a specialized analysis platform, bathed in a soft blue light that highlighted their intricate geometries. Around her, a team she had personally selected worked with intense concentration. Dr. Aisha Patel, a quantum physicist with wild curly hair and eyes that seemed to see beyond conventional reality, approached the first component, a twisted metallic structure that looked like a cross between a circuit board and a living organism. "It's not just a technological artifact," Aisha muttered, more to herself than anyone else. "It's almost organic." Next to her, Marcus Rodriguez, a materials science expert with prosthetic arms that were technological marvels in their own right, carefully manipulated a scanning electron microscope. His display showed layers of molecular structures that defied traditional understanding. "These alloys," Marcus said, his voice a mixture of excitement and disbelief, "they're not just engineered. They're grown." Maya watched her team with a sense of careful anticipation. She had deliberately assembled a group that broke every conventional research model. Aisha, with her quantum mechanics background. Marcus, whose work in material science pushed boundaries. Dr. Elena Yoshida, a biomechanical engineer who saw technology as a living, breathing ecosystem. Jack Coleman, a software architect who could translate the most complex theoretical concepts into practical code. Each team member brought a unique perspective. Where traditional research would approach the alien components linearly, they were looking at them as an interconnected system. "We're not just reverse engineering," Maya announced to the team. "We're having a conversation with technology we don't yet understand." Jack Coleman looked up from his workstation, holographic displays dancing around his fingers. "These communication protocols are unlike anything I've ever seen. It's like they're designed to be modular, but not in a way our current systems comprehend." A breakthrough came unexpectedly. Aisha was running a quantum resonance scan when one of the components suddenly hummed to life. Not a mechanical buzz, but a soft, almost musical vibration that seemed to ripple through the laboratory. "Did anyone else see that?" she called out. Marcus rushed over, his prosthetic hands moving with surgical precision. The molecular structure just reconfigured. It's like the component is responding to the quantum scan. Over the next weeks, the team developed a unique approach. Instead of trying to understand the components through human technological frameworks, they began to listen to them. They created specialized interfaces that allowed for more intuitive interactions, treating the alien technology more like a collaborative partner than a machine to be dissected. Elena Yoshida's breakthrough came from an unexpected direction. By applying principles of biological adaptation to the components, she discovered that what looked like damage or wear was actually a form of adaptive self-modification. "It's not broken," she explained during a team briefing. "It's evolving. These components aren't static technologies. They're more like living systems that can restructure themselves based on environmental inputs." The team worked in shifts that blended into each other. Meals were eaten at workstations. Sleep became a secondary consideration. Their research facility became a crucible of continuous discovery. One night, as most of the team rested, Maya and Aisha worked together. A series of components lay before them, connected through a web of experimental interfaces. "We're missing something," Aisha said, her fingers dancing across a holographic display. "These aren't just technological artifacts. They're pieces of a much larger system." Maya nodded. The Zorn had given them what they considered junk. but it felt more like a puzzle, a deliberately constructed challenge. Their first major breakthrough came unexpectedly. By using a combination of quantum entanglement principles and biomechanical adaptation techniques, they managed to create a small energy oscillator that produced power with unprecedented efficiency. When they ran the initial tests, the laboratory went silent. The device wasn't just generating power, it was generating power from what seemed like nothing, drawing energy from quantum fluctuations in a way that defied current scientific understanding. Jack Coleman looked at the readouts, his face a mixture of excitement and disbelief. "This changes everything," he whispered. Maya watched the team, a small smile playing on her lips. The Zorn thought they were giving humanity technological garbage. Instead, they had just handed them the keys to a technological revolution. The real work was just beginning. The prototype sat on a reinforced glass platform, looking deceptively simple. A compact device no larger than a briefcase, it hummed with a soft, almost imperceptible energy that made the air around it feel alive with potential. Global Energy Solutions headquarters in Geneva buzzed with anticipation. Representatives from governments, technology firms, and scientific institutions filled the conference room, their collective breath held in suspense. Dr. Maya Chen stood beside the prototype, her presentation slides flickering behind her with intricate diagrams and performance metrics. "What we've developed," Maya began, her voice steady and confident, "is more than just an alternative energy source. It's a fundamental reimagining of energy generation." The device, which the team had nicknamed the Quantum Resonance Generator, represented their first major breakthrough with the alien components. Initial tests showed it could generate power at 500% efficiency compared to the most advanced human energy technologies. More incredibly, it drew energy from quantum fluctuations, essentially creating power from what appeared to be nothing. Dr. Aisha Patel had explained it during their internal briefings as harvesting energy from the fabric of reality itself. Most of the team had laughed, but the data supported her wild claim. Marcus Rodriguez stepped forward, activating a holographic display that showed the generator's internal structure. "The alien components allow for a quantum entanglement process we've never seen before," he explained. "Traditional energy generation works by converting one form of energy to another. This device creates energy through a process of quantum information transfer." The implications were staggering. A single unit could potentially power an entire city. The environmental impact would be revolutionary. No emissions, no resource depletion, no environmental damage. But not everyone in the room saw opportunity. Representative Zhang from the Chinese Ministry of Technology leaned forward. "How can we verify these claims? This sounds too good to be true." Maya had anticipated the skepticism. She nodded to Jack Coleman, who began running a live demonstration. The lights in the conference room dimmed, then brightened, powered entirely by the small device. Surrounding electronic equipment began operating, drawing power from what seemed like thin air. "Independent verification is crucial," Maya agreed. "We're inviting scientific teams from around the world to study and replicate our work." The meeting lasted hours. Lawyers discussed patent implications. Economists calculated potential global economic shifts. Energy company representatives looked alternatively excited and terrified. Behind the scenes, the research team continued their work. What the public saw was just the tip of the iceberg. The quantum resonance generator was merely a proof of concept, a demonstration of what was possible when human creativity met alien technology. In their laboratory, Elena Yoshida was already working on the next phase. She had discovered that the alien components possessed a form of adaptive intelligence. They weren't just static pieces of technology. They could reconfigure themselves based on environmental inputs. "It's like they're alive," she told Maya during a late-night strategy session. "Not sentient, perhaps, but capable of complex self-modification." The global reaction was complex. Some saw the breakthrough as a beacon of hope. Others viewed it with suspicion. Energy companies that had built empires on fossil fuels saw their business models crumbling overnight. Social media exploded with speculation. Scientific forums crashed under the weight of discussion and debate. The team from Horizon Research Complex became overnight celebrities, though most preferred the quiet of their laboratory to public attention. Within weeks, research contracts began pouring in. Governments and private institutions from around the world wanted access to their discoveries. The team was careful. They would share knowledge, but they wouldn't let their work be controlled or weaponized. Unbeknownst to most, the Zorn Collective was monitoring these developments with growing concern. What they had intended as a patronizing gift was turning into something entirely unexpected. During a private moment, Maya reflected on their journey. The alien components weren't just technology. They were a challenge, an invitation to think beyond known limitations. "We're just getting started," she told her team one evening, looking at the growing array of prototype devices. The quantum resonance generator was more than an energy breakthrough. It was humanity's first step into a larger technological understanding, a promise of what could be achieved when creativity met the unknown. The real revolution was just beginning. The diplomatic shuttle arrived precisely at noon, its sleek design cutting through Earth's atmosphere with calculated precision. Ambassador Krelix emerged, his crystalline exoskeleton reflecting the sunlight in a dazzling display of alien sophistication. This was no ordinary diplomatic visit. The Zorn Collective had come to demand answers. The United Nations headquarters had been transformed into a high-security conference zone. Security protocols reached unprecedented levels. Every electronic system was shielded, every communication channel encrypted. The stakes were higher than any previous international meeting. Dr. Maya Chen sat near the delegation, her presence both a scientific asset and a strategic statement. She wasn't there to negotiate, she was there to bear witness. Ambassador Krelix's opening statement was as sharp as a laser cut. "The technological developments we've observed from your research facility represent a significant deviation from our initial expectations," he began, his translation matrix rendering his complex language into crisp, measured English. Secretary General Aria Rodriguez responded with diplomatic calm. "We view the components you gifted us as an opportunity for scientific exploration," she said, each word carefully chosen. But the underlying tension was unmistakable. The Zorn had not anticipated humanity's capacity for innovation. What they considered obsolete technology had become a pathway to unprecedented scientific breakthroughs. Behind the diplomatic facade, a complex game was being played. The quantum resonance generator was just the beginning. Maya's team had already developed 3 additional technologies that would revolutionize multiple scientific fields: energy production, material science, quantum computing. Jack Coleman had discovered that the alien components possessed an adaptive communication protocol that could potentially revolutionize global communication systems. Elena Yoshida's work on biomechanical interfaces suggested entirely new approaches to medical technology. "We require a comprehensive review of your research," Krelix demanded. "The rate of technological advancement exceeds our projected models for your civilization." The subtext was clear. The Zorn were concerned. Humanity was developing technologies at a rate that challenged their understanding of technological progression. In a closed-door session, away from diplomatic cameras, the real discussions began. Scientific advisors from multiple nations presented their findings. Each presentation revealed another layer of innovation derived from the alien components. Maya watched the proceedings with a mixture of scientific curiosity and strategic awareness. She understood something the Zorn had not yet realized. Humanity's greatest strength was not just technological innovation, but the ability to collaborate, to think beyond traditional boundaries. These components, she explained during her presentation, are not just technological artifacts. They're a form of adaptive system that responds to creative problem-solving. The Zorn delegation exchanged complex visual signals, a form of communication that suggested deep concern. Outside the conference center, the world was changing. The quantum resonance generator had already begun transforming global energy infrastructure. Developing nations were leapfrogging traditional energy systems. Renewable energy was no longer a distant dream, but an immediate reality. But the Zorn's response was multi-layered. They weren't just diplomatically challenging humanity. They began a sophisticated disinformation campaign. Technical journals mysteriously received contradictory research papers. Online scientific forums were flooded with complex arguments attempting to discredit the human breakthroughs. Maya's team was prepared. They had anticipated potential pushback and developed a comprehensive communication strategy. Every claim was meticulously documented. Every breakthrough was accompanied by transparent research methodologies. Transparency is our greatest weapon, Maya told her team during a strategy meeting. We're not just developing technology. We're creating the new model of scientific collaboration. The most significant moment came unexpectedly. During a technical demonstration, Dr. Aisha Patel revealed a breakthrough in quantum communication that made existing communication technologies seem primitive. Krelix's multiple eyes seemed to shimmer with an emotion remarkably close to concern. Humanity was not developing technology as expected. They were reimagining technological development itself. As the diplomatic meetings concluded, one thing became clear. The gift of junk components had been a massive miscalculation by the Zorn Collective. Humanity was not just receiving technology. They were transforming it. The galaxy was about to change. The research stations spread across 3 continents were more than laboratories. They were humanity's forward operating bases in a technological arms race that few truly understood. Dr. Maya Chen stood in the Brazilian Amazon Research Complex, a state-of-the-art facility that looked more like a living ecosystem than a traditional scientific installation. Solar panels shaped like massive leaves captured energy. Biomimetic structures blended seamlessly with the surrounding rainforest. This was science reimagined. Adaptive, responsive, alive. We're not just developing technologies, Maya explained to a group of international researchers. We're creating a new dialogue with innovation itself. The alien components had become more than research subjects. They were catalysts for a global scientific renaissance. Each breakthrough spawned dozens of additional research pathways. The quantum resonance generator was now just one of multiple revolutionary technologies emerging from their initial discoveries. Dr. Elena Yoshida's team had developed adaptive medical nanobots that could restructure themselves to address specific health challenges. In clinical trials, these microscopic machines demonstrated the ability to repair cellular damage, target specific disease markers, and even reverse certain genetic conditions. Meanwhile, Jack Coleman's communication research had produced a quantum communication network that made traditional internet infrastructure look like ancient technology. Information could now be transmitted instantaneously across massive distances, with encryption levels that made previous security protocols seem like children's puzzles. The global scientific community was transforming. Traditional research models collapsed as collaborative, adaptive approaches took center stage. Nations that had previously competed now found themselves working together, driven by the sheer potential of the discoveries. In Africa, a series of research stations developed adaptive agricultural technologies derived from the alien components. Crops could now be grown in previously impossible conditions. Deserts bloomed, marginal lands became fertile, and global food production models were completely reimagined. Dr. Aisha Patel's quantum physics team made perhaps the most startling breakthrough. They discovered that the alien components contained computational principles that suggested multiple-dimensional interactions. What looked like technological artifacts were potentially windows into understanding the fundamental structure of reality itself. It's like we've been given a key to a door we didn't even know existed, Aisha told Maya during a late-night strategy session. These components aren't just technology. They're a form of cosmic communication. The Zorn Collective watched with increasing concern. Their initial gift, meant to be a patronizing gesture, had become a catalyst for unprecedented human advancement. Diplomatic channels began to shift. Other spacefaring civilizations took notice, their long-held assumptions about humanity challenged. Marcus Rodriguez's materials science team developed adaptive structural materials that could self-repair and reconfigure. Bridges that could heal their own damage. buildings that could adjust to environmental challenges, transportation systems that learned and improved with each interaction. Research stations began to appear in unexpected locations. The Antarctic Research Complex became a hub for adaptive environmental technologies. A facility in the Atacama Desert developed water generation systems that could extract moisture from seemingly impossible conditions. Global economic models began to shift. Traditional resource-based economies became obsolete. The energy crisis disappeared overnight. Climate change mitigation technologies emerged faster than anyone had predicted. During an international conference, Maya presented their most comprehensive report yet. "We're not just developing technologies," she explained. "We're creating a new approach to understanding our relationship with innovation." The alien components have become more than research subjects. They were a bridge to a new understanding of technological potential. Unbeknownst to most, the research was preparing humanity for something larger. The technologies being developed were not just about solving current challenges. They were laying the groundwork for something unprecedented. In orbit, a new type of research station began taking shape. Collaborative efforts from multiple nations, it represented a new approach to space exploration. Not as a competition, but as a collective human endeavor. The Zorn had given humanity a gift they could never have anticipated. What they considered junk was becoming the foundation of a technological revolution that would reshape not just human civilization, but potentially our understanding of existence itself. As night fell over the Brazilian research complex, Maya looked out over the adaptive landscape. The boundary between technology and nature was blurring. Humanity was no longer just developing technology. They were learning to communicate with possibility itself. The Zorn Collective's Strategic Command Center pulsed with an unusual energy. Holographic displays tracked humanity's technological progression, a series of lines and data points that defied their most sophisticated predictive models. Ambassador Krullig stood at the center of the massive chamber, his crystalline exoskeleton reflecting the intense blue light of the tactical displays. Something had gone catastrophically wrong with their initial assessment of humanity. "Recalibrate the projections," he commanded to the assembled strategists. "There must be an error in our initial calculations." But there was no error. Humanity was advancing at a rate that completely shattered the Zorn's understanding of technological development. What had been intended as a patronizing gift, outdated technological components, had become the catalyst for a civilization-wide transformation. The Zorn's response was multifaceted and complex. They couldn't directly intervene. Galactic diplomatic protocols were clear. But they could create obstacles. Diplomatic channels became increasingly tense. Economic pressures began to mount. Global technology firms that had partnered with Zorn-affiliated corporations suddenly found their communication channels disrupted. Research grants became complicated. Scientific publications faced unprecedented scrutiny. Dr. Maya Chen understood the game being played. During a closed-door meeting with international scientific leaders, she laid out the Zorn's strategy with clinical precision. "They're not trying to stop our progress," she explained. "They're attempting to slow us down, to create doubt, to make our advancements seem less credible." The research team had anticipated such a response. Each breakthrough was meticulously documented. Every scientific claim was supported by layers of verifiable research. Transparency became their most powerful weapon. Dr. Aisha Patel's quantum communication network proved particularly problematic for the Zorn strategy. Traditional methods of information control became obsolete. Scientific discoveries could now be shared instantaneously across global networks, making suppression impossible. Jack Coleman's team developed additional layers of protection. Adaptive communication protocols that could detect and route around interference, information systems that became more robust when challenged. The Zorn's most significant attempt came through economic channels. They began pressuring international trade organizations. Research partnerships became increasingly complicated. Diplomatic tensions rose. But humanity had changed. The collaborative approach to innovation had become a global phenomenon. Nations that had previously competed now worked together, driven by the potential of the technologies emerging from the alien components. In the Antarctic Research Station, Marcus Rodriguez's team discovered something extraordinary. The alien components weren't just technological artifacts. They possessed a form of adaptive intelligence that responded to creative problem-solving. "It's like they're waiting to be understood," Marcus told Maya during a late-night strategy session. "Not just analyzed, but truly comprehended." The Zorn's diplomatic channels became increasingly aggressive. Formal communications were filled with complex legal challenges and technical objections. They sought to create a web of bureaucratic resistance that would slow human technological progression. But each challenge only accelerated human innovation. Research stations emerged in unexpected locations. The Atacama Desert became a hub for adaptive environmental technologies. A facility in the Himalayan mountains developed new approaches to high-altitude engineering. African research centers created agricultural technologies that could transform marginal lands into productive ecosystems. Helena Yoshida's medical research team developed adaptive nanobots that could restructure themselves to address specific health challenges. Genetic diseases that were once considered untreatable became manageable. The boundaries of medical science expanded exponentially. The global scientific community recognized the larger game being played. This was more than a technological challenge. It was a test of human potential. Ambassador Krelix and his strategic team watched in increasing concern. Humanity was not developing technology in any way the Zorn understood. They were reimagining the entire concept of technological progression. During one particularly tense diplomatic session, Maya presented their most comprehensive report yet. "We're not just developing technologies," she explained. "We're creating a new approach to understanding innovation itself." The Zorn had given humanity a gift they could never have anticipated. What they considered obsolete was becoming the foundation of a technological revolution that would reshape not just human civilization, but potentially our understanding of existence. As strategic displays continued to track humanity's progression, one thing became clear: the galaxy was about to change in ways no one could predict. Humanity was no longer just receiving technology. They were learning to speak its language. The International Technological Demonstration Arena stood as a testament to human collaboration. Located in a neutral zone between mountain ranges, the facility represented the pinnacle of global scientific achievement. Delegations from every major civilization gathered, their anticipation palpable. Dr. Maya Chen walked onto the central platform, her steps measured and confident. Behind her, a team of researchers from 12 different countries stood united. This was more than a technological demonstration. This was humanity's response to the Zorn Collective's challenge. Ambassador Krelix arrived with a full Zorn diplomatic contingent, their crystalline exoskeletons reflecting the intense lighting. His multiple eyes scanned the arena, searching for any potential weakness. "We require comprehensive verification of your technological claims," Krelix announced, his translation matrix rendering his complex language into precise English. Maya nodded. "We welcome complete, transparent verification." The demonstration would showcase 3 primary technologies developed from the alien components. Each represented a fundamental reimagining of scientific understanding. First, the quantum resonance generator, now evolved beyond its initial design. Where the original prototype could power a city, this version could potentially generate energy for entire continental networks. But it was more than an energy source. It was a living system that could adapt to environmental conditions, self-repair, and optimize its own performance. Dr. Aisha Patel initiated the first demonstration. The generator came to life not with a roar, but with a soft, almost musical hum. Holographic displays tracked its performance in real time. Energy production wasn't just efficient, it was adaptive. The system could draw power from multiple sources, including quantum fluctuations that previously seemed impossible to harness. The Zorn delegation exchanged complex visual signals. Their initial data models were being systematically destroyed. The second demonstration came from Elena Yoshida's medical research team. A series of adaptive nanobots demonstrated their capabilities. On a massive display, viewers watched as these microscopic machines navigated through a simulated biological system. They didn't just treat specific conditions, they learned and adapted. A simulated genetic disorder was introduced. The nanobots didn't just address the symptoms. They understood the underlying genetic structure, made precise modifications, and essentially rewrote the genetic code to eliminate the disorder entirely. Marcus Rodriguez presented the third demonstration, Adaptive Material Technologies. A series of structural components began to transform before the audience's eyes. Bridges that could heal their own structural damage. Materials that could change their properties based on environmental conditions. A simulated extreme weather scenario was introduced. The materials didn't just resist damage. They actively adapted. Molecular structures realigned. Internal compositions shifted. What would have been a catastrophic failure became a moment of incredible resilience. Jack Coleman's communication team added another layer. A quantum communication network demonstrated instantaneous, unhackable information transfer. Distance became meaningless. Security became absolute. Ambassador Krelix's crystalline structure seemed to vibrate with an emotion remarkably close to concern. This was not the humanity they had expected, not the civilization they had patronized. These were not recipients of technological charity. These were innovators who had taken what was considered garbage and transformed it into something revolutionary. Independent verification teams from multiple civilizations confirmed each demonstration. The results were consistent, repeatable, extraordinary. Maya's final statement was simple but powerful. These technologies are not just scientific achievements, she explained. They represent a new approach to understanding our relationship with innovation itself. The demonstration lasted hours. Every claim was meticulously documented. Every breakthrough was transparently explained. As the event concluded, the global scientific community understood something profound. Humanity had not just developed new technologies. They had created an entirely new paradigm of scientific understanding. The Zorn delegation's retreat was notable for its silence. No diplomatic statements, no challenges, just a profound recognition that everything had changed. Outside the demonstration arena, the world was already transforming. Research stations hummed with new possibilities. Collaborative networks expanded. The boundaries between nations, between scientific disciplines, were dissolving. Maya looked out over the gathering of scientists, researchers, and diplomatic representatives. They had been given a gift of junk and transformed it into something miraculous. The galaxy would never be the same. 5 years after the historic technological demonstration, humanity had become unrecognizable. The first interstellar research station hung in orbit, a testament to what could be achieved when creativity met opportunity. Dr. Maya Chen stood at the observation deck, watching Earth below, a planet transformed by the technologies born from what the Zorn had once considered worthless components. Global challenges that had seemed insurmountable now existed only in historical archives. Climate restoration projects had reversed decades of environmental damage. Adaptive agricultural technologies had eliminated global hunger. Medical breakthroughs had dramatically extended human life expectancy and eliminated most genetic diseases. But the true revolution was more profound than technological advancement. Humanity had discovered a new way of thinking, a collaborative approach to innovation that transcended national boundaries, scientific disciplines, and previous limitations. Dr. Aisha Patel's quantum communication network had become the backbone of a new global infrastructure. Information flowed like a living system, adaptive and instantaneous. The old models of communication, of knowledge sharing, had become obsolete. In the Brazilian Amazon, what was once a research facility had become a living laboratory. Adaptive technologies worked in harmony with natural ecosystems. The boundary between technology and nature had blurred, becoming something entirely new. The Zorn Collective's initial gift, those components they had dismissed as junk, had become the foundation of humanity's greatest leap forward. Ambassador Krulix arrived on the orbital station, a diplomatic visit that would have been unimaginable 5 years earlier. The multiple-eyed alien moved differently now, with a sense of cautious respect that replaced the previous condescension. "Your civilization has exceeded all predictive models," Krulix stated during their meeting. It was as close to an apology as the Zorn were capable of producing. Maya smiled. "We were never just looking to catch up," she explained. "We were looking to reimagine what's possible." The Interstellar Research Station was more than a scientific outpost. It was a symbol of humanity's new approach. Researchers from multiple civilizations now worked together, their collaborative spirit a sharp contrast to the competitive models of previous decades. Elena Yoshida's medical research had expanded beyond human applications. Adaptive medical technologies were now being developed to address challenges faced by multiple alien civilizations. What had begun as human innovation was becoming a collaborative galactic endeavor. Marcus Rodriguez's material science team had developed technologies that could essentially think their way through complex challenges, structures that could adapt, repair, and optimize themselves, transportation systems that learned and improved with each interaction. Jack Coleman's communication networks had become the nervous system of a new type of civilization. Information wasn't just transferred, it was understood, contextualized, and integrated in ways that transformed knowledge itself. The economic models of the world had been completely restructured. Traditional concepts of resources, of value, had been reimagined. Energy was no longer a commodity. It was a freely available, adaptive system that responded to global needs. During a global commemoration, Maya reflected on their journey. The alien components weren't just a technological gift. They were an invitation, a challenge to think beyond known limitations. "We didn't just develop new technologies," she told the assembled researchers and diplomats. "We discovered a new way of understanding our relationship with innovation itself." The Zorn had intended to offer humanity a patronizing gift. Instead, they had provided the spark for a civilization-wide transformation. Other spacefaring civilizations watched with a mixture of fascination and concern. Humanity was no longer the junior species to be overlooked. They were innovators, collaborators, bridge builders between different ways of understanding reality. On the orbital station, a memorial stood to the original research team, the group that had first seen potential in what others had dismissed as worthless. It was a simple display, featuring the original alien components that had started everything. Maya looked out at the stars, understanding something profound. The true power of innovation wasn't in the technologies themselves. It was in the ability to see potential where others saw limitations. The galaxy had changed, and humanity had led the way. What the Zorn had intended as a dismissive gift had become the foundation of a new chapter in galactic civilization. The real journey was just beginning.